Welcome to the ChampCar iRacing Series at Phillip Island, round 3 of the championship for 2026. This is HJBC live coverage on ChampCar Live. David Haynes with Devin Peters, Michael Derby in the production as we come to you with MX5 racing from Phillip Island. A little bit of wind in the air ahead of our 1 hour race. Devon, super excited to be racing in the global Mazda MX-5 Cup car.
Emphasis on global here tonight, David Haynes. We've gone on a very long tow. It was very wet, but at least it's pretty warm outside here in Australia, where we're taking them out for a spin tonight.
So round 3 of 12 for this season in 2026, where we go to more ChampCar circuits than we ever have before, with Lime Rock Park and Kota joining the ChampCar Endurance Series calendar for 2026, and also replicated here in the ChampCar iRacing Series. But we do have 1 or 2 little extracurricular field trips to fill out the calendar and the year and give us something fresh year on year, and Phillip Island gets its first ChampCar iRacing Series points event. Good turnout in these Mazdas at a high-speed circuit. So many long and fast corners here. And David Martin leads qualifying at the moment. We're not too far away from beginning that 1-hour race. Lincoln Fox and Michael Chase also in the top 3 of the standings at the moment. I think this is them here together. So the drivers here remain in that order. Looks like Tim Wire improved on his last lap.
Yeah, they're putting on a show out here. It's an interesting track, this one, for folks that haven't had the chance to drive it in iRacing or haven't made the commute. It's one of those ones that looks kind of easy when you look at it from above, but when you get into onto the surface itself, there's just a lot of nuance in the corners. It's one of those ones that wants to spit you off in weird places, and everything's just a little off camber, a little blind. You're kind of off balance in the car all the time. Really a challenging course for our drivers to get around today. Can you tell us anything about the history of this place here, Haynes? Not to put you on the spot.
Yes, this island used to be solely inhabited by penguins. Now it's only mostly inhabited by penguins with a couple of people.
Big race fans. Is that where checkered flags come from? Black and white penguins?
Yeah, you've got to knit so many of them. It's broadly unethical, to be honest with you. But yeah, a lot of history around here with MotoGP, for example. And it's got these long motorcycle type corners, like Siberia there. It's where the breeze gets to first when it's blowing off of Antarctica, and then it's flat out through there. You come over the crest of the hill here and have one of the few or 2 big braking zones of the lap, and you're looking for that little bit of camber in the tight hairpin and a little snap from Wire, which is not what you want to happen when you're driving over a cable-stayed suspension bridge.
They got one of those at this track too?
No, there is one bridge onto the island, and in fact it's a piece of history in itself that it originally wasn't strong enough to bring a proper bitumen paving machine onto the island, the race circuit began to break up, and a race event that was meant to be here was cancelled and got moved to a new venue in Mount Panorama, Bathurst. And then they decided they actually quite liked racing there, and they kept racing there instead of here.
Fair enough. Hey, both places put on a good show.
Not much time left here, and a lot of our quickest drivers are parked up right there as you see them, and right there and there as you see them as well. That looked like Ryan Puchtel. Bit wide out there.
Yeah, just kind of showing how challenging it is out there, though. I'm expecting consistency to be a real key. I think we're seeing some different names up at the front here. Lincoln Fox has got a race win this season, but David Martin hasn't run that close to the front yet. But a little bit of extra practice time, and you can find a little bit here if it's a circuit that not everyone's had a chance to spend a lot of time on yet. Tim Wire and Kyle Robertson are regulars of the series, but you got to go all the way down to 6th place to find Ryan Puchtel, who's 3rd in the points, and then 8th place to find Jared Collins, who's 2nd. So definitely a few drivers wishing they had a little bit more track time around here, I think, tonight.
Time's almost up on that. The checkered flag waves on qualifying, and all of your top 5 are parked up irregardless. Jared Collins does look like he stands the opportunity for a small improvement here. No one is going to tow him around in any way, though. I think he's done with that. A few other drivers like Will Warren and Logan Senhauser come across the checkered flag. Jeffrey Rockwell about to do so here. Does not look like any improvement there from Rockwell.
Nick Love and Cameron Senhauser making a run to the line. Looks like Love's going to benefit the most from the tow. One last time over. But only good enough to improve by a couple tenths for him. And that earns him just a couple of positions at the same time. Senhauser, meanwhile, maybe wishing he had been the one on the receiving end of that tow. He'll be starting from nearly last place. 48.4 is what that gets you.
Flagman standing on Australia's best piece of temporary scaffolding there, it would look like. So we're almost ready to head to the grid on this one. 26 drivers with qualifying times there of 27 total.
Yeah, just Thomas Love filtering back to the pit lane as we get ready to head over into our race session. 1 hour race today, David Haynes. And I think with all this drafting, we'll have to see some big draft packs out there tonight, probably.
Always the case with these cars that anytime you get to full throttle, you're just following that hole punched by the car in front. And if you can be consistent, you can normally stay with someone who might have a tiny bit of an edge in pace versus you. And that leads to some very close racing very often in these cars. We head to the grid now. So here we have it. Up front, David Martin, Lincoln Fox there in second. Michael Chase will start from third with Tim Wire in fourth. Drivetrainers Kyle Robertson up in 5th, with Ryan Puchtel in 6th, Ian Giebler 7th, Jared Collins 8th. There's Ryan Carwile 9th and Andy Kosick 10th. Nick Love 11th. Byron Hayes with 12th there. Alex Harrison from 13th. Matt McGee from 14th. Jeffrey Rockwell in 15th. Will Warren, number 007. Will Warren from 16th. Logan Senhauser 17th, with John Nicholford 18th, Brian Tidd 19th, and Aaron Brown 20th. Dennis Daniel 21st, Cindy Pickett 22nd, Steve Hermetz 23rd, Thomas Love 24th, Cameron Senhauser 25th, Nick Love 26th, and the only driver who didn't set a qualifying time, Kevin Glass, may still start, and so we are lining up on the front straight behind the iRacing sedan pace car, who will take us for a scenic formation lap. Weather changing just a tiny bit from qualifying into the race. Still relatively cool with some pretty strong winds from the south. There is nothing really in between here and Antarctica when the wind is blowing from the south. That is why one of those southerly corners is called Siberia, because it'll feel like it. But what it is dry though. So that means no rain expected, sun out for the moment, but not everyone really feeling the heat from that sun in these weather conditions. David Martin and Lincoln Fox out front row. So with 2 rounds completed and the beginning of round 3 imminently upon us, this is where the points sit. Lincoln Fox with a win and I believe a second place to his name is up top, and then Jared Collins and Ryan Puchtel mighty close. Michael Chase and Kyle Robertson tied 4th and 5th, or equal 4th. It's a matter of perspective. Ryan Carwile in 6th, and Ian Giebler, Alex Albert and Aaron Brown also neck and neck there, with Logan Senhauser completing this top 10.
Yeah, getting a win is a big deal in the ChampCar series. So both Lincoln Fox and Collins have wins on the season this year. So they're going to be major players in the championship. You got to think, got to rack them up to be there at the end.
Looking absolutely picturesque around here, and soon from that apparently temporary scaffolding at the start-finish line, the green flag will be waved. 60 minutes will begin, everyone in identical Mazda MX-5s. 4.3 gallons of fuel in the tank means we're going to need to make one pit stop to get to the end. Strategy, slipstreaming, and good quality Mazda racing. We are heading onto the front straight, picking up speed and looking for green at Phillip Island. And Lincoln Fox moves across. Michael Chase alongside, heading towards sweeping turn 1 here at Phillip Island. 27 cars on track, just a little bit of a check-up into 1. And then you've got this really long medium speed left-hander of Southern Loop at turn 2. David Martin still in perfect position with this pack.
They're keeping things together deeper in the field, but it's a hard corner on cold tires. We got Will Warren running a little bit wide in the background there. He regains his spot, though, safely.
Then the first big braking zone of the lap into turn 4. Now Miller corner. Originally a Honda corner, but then they named it after an Australian man who rides motorbikes well. This is a look at the incredibly shiny Andy Cosick. He's up one spot just ahead of Alex Harrison at the moment. Both of them have jumped Ian Giebler, who's dropped just a couple of spots in all of the goings on in this opening lap.
Yeah, better to keep it pointing the right way, but he'd like to be moving forwards. A couple good
over the hill
zones around here.
Into the second big braking zone of the lap. Not much change in the field there. Everyone, a little bit at the back as everyone positions themselves to get towards full throttle for this really long flat-out blast, basically flat out through the final corner onto the long front straight, carrying lots of speed into the very fast turn 1. Fox and Chase are doing exactly that, carrying the speed and both usurping David Martin, who looks like he'll slot into third. Lincoln Fox to the lead of the race, with Michael Chase also up a spot.
Yeah, they're still doing almost 150 miles an hour on the exit of turn 1. The way they just bury the floor, foot to the floor, and stay in the draft in these things.
And then behind that pack, Tim Wyer sits serenely in 4th, just in front of the nose of Kyle Robertson, who stays in line into the braking zone. Ryan Pucktel, Jared Collins, Ryan Carwile, Andy Cosick, and Alex Harrison completing that top 10 of them. Alex Harrison, the only driver to start outside of the top 10 and move forward into it. And it's with stuff like this, where he's having to fend off Andy Cosick. Creates a bit of a gap between that top 8 and the battle here, 9th and 10th.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to dive it in here to the MG corner. Is that what you call it?
Yep.
And gain a little ground. But he'll need to get a little bit of that draft if he wants to get back up there.
You won't believe the stranglehold that MGs had on sports car racing in this nation in the 1960s. One of my local tracks is still run by the MG Car Club of Queensland. Even though I don't think anyone has an MG, they're just called that now. New fastest lap of the race for Ryan Pucktel as the pack forms up out front and the battle continues back here around 9th and 10th. Cosick on the inside alongside Ian Giebler, who has the inside for the turn 2 switchback.
It was a slide job. That was nice.
Gets himself into the top 10, but the job's almost never done here because the average speeds are very high, with the exception of these 2 hairpins at Miller and MG.
Yeah, you can see the tail end of that lead pack start to take a little bit of a defensive line as they're coming into the hairpin there. I think it was Kyle Robertson that was tightest to the right. He's in the center of our screen now at 2:15, leading the Drive Trainer Motorsports entries for the day, I believe. And he's sitting in 5th place right now. Been a quiet start for him. Started 5th, still 5th. We'll see. I have to think that there's maybe a bit of a strategy play going on here at the front. Even 5 minutes into it.
Strategy play had David Martin leading the opening lap of this race. Lincoln Fox getting through with a little bit of assistance from his friend Michael Chase. Now one of the next groups here. The Sennhausers are still split in the field, and it looks like, yeah, indeed.
Yeah, it's Matt McGee. They're going 3 wide into turn number 1 here. We'll see how this pans out. We got a Canadian on the outside. See how polite he is about it. And he's going to drop back into line and let the other 2 have the spot. Oh no, I got that wrong. McGee's in the blue and gray car. He's the one who made it 3 wide. Either way, he takes a spot, loses a spot, and it's Aaron Brown leading the way out of turn number 2.
Logan Senhauser gets just a tiny bit wide, but there's some action brewing up front. Kyle Robertson alongside Ryan Puchtel and Jared Collins in this group here. Alex Harrison's managed to bring Ian Giebler, Andy Cossack and Byron Hayes to catch this leading group. So it's reconstituted like some orange juice here in the lead. 12 cars together.
Yeah, that draft has shown its power, and these long shots from hairpin to hairpin around this track, just really allowing these guys to bring the things together and put them 2 wide at times. But as I was kind of saying in the pre-race, it's going to be a race, I think, where not making a mistake is the key. Because if you can just keep the thing going, you can be right there in the draft and make up a lot of time, even if you're giving up a little bit on entry or on exit.
Here they go again, slightly downhill out of the final corner, flattens out across the start-finish stripe here and past pit lane, drops down again, giving you a beautiful view of the Southern Ocean going into turn 1. And Giebler picks up a new fastest lap of the race from 10th position. That's the power of that slipstream train. Jared Collins jumps down the inside of Kyle Robertson as Ryan Puchtel is out wide. Can be a real accumulation of debris and marbles and dust around the outside line of that corner. So you don't really want to get wide, because then you'll end up further wide into a negative feedback loop of probably running off the road. But just costs a little bit of time and some positions to Puchtel as he goes side by side, continuing with Kyle Robertson through the hairpin.
At the back of the pack there, you've got Byron Hayes and Andy Cossack tangling a little bit. That's Byron Hayes now taking the position away. Those 2 are squabbling over 11th and 12th place. And while they were just on the back end of the front pack, they're now split a few car lengths back, so hopefully they can keep it single file as they come over the hill. I think this is the trickiest corner in the track. The way it kind of picks you up and then spits you out over the top of the hill. Really hard to keep the thing from understeering at the top of the hill and then at the bottom of the hill. It, real challenge to make sure the car is placed correctly.
As we got into the rhythm of the race, drivers battled for position. The field spread out a little bit. Now as we settle back into the rhythm, groups come back together. New fastest lap of the race from Jared Collins. I think he's alongside Tim Wire going into turn 1, and he gets into 4th position.
And again, just another corner, this big turn 2 where you have to manage the understeer, manage the throttle. Even in these Miatas with their meager amount of horsepower, if you get in the throttle just at the wrong moment, you're going to unload the front suspension. You're going to push wide. Just a tricky little track. Really good in these cars. Oh, 2 wide at the back. A little bit of contact just off camera. That was between Alex Harrison and that pink and white car. He'll slot back in behind Ryan Carwile. They were neck and neck going into the corner, but Carwile made sure that Harrison had to go the long way around. What's 4 and 20, Haynes?
Meat pies.
Sounds wonderful. You can see just a little bit of locking. Even with a chilly track out there today, I do wonder if these guys will, I'm thinking we'll see some tires at the stop, but I'm not sure what tire I would want around here.
Well, it's a anti-clockwise circuit. Lots of long, fast left-handers, 2 tight, slow right-handers. And this is the front group coming together. Lincoln Fox, Michael Chase, David Martin, and Jared Collins. Quicker than you could say it, they flash past.
I also love just how wide this circuit is, enough that you can see a good bit of variation in all these guys' lines as they're trying the different parts. Seeing if there's a little bit extra to be found here or there.
So group number 1 negotiates the first hairpin. You can just see group number 2 behind them as well. Aaron Brown and Dennis Daniel leading that group. They've each moved forward in this race 7 positions so far.
That's Jeffrey Rockwell and John Nicholford getting together. Got a little tangled up on the entry, and luckily it's the slowest corner on the track, so they'll escape mostly unscathed, but that's cost Jeffrey Rockwell a little bit of time. Get a replay of it here. That's Rockwell pinching down, and not sure Nicholford had anywhere to go there. It's a close call for sure. We're getting another replay. This is Alex Harrison. He's up with the lead group, and I'm seeing this in real time with you now. Yeah, it just runs it a little bit wide on the entry and 2 tires off in the dirt. And they say, what's it that you say? If you go off there, you're going straight to Siberia. Hey, Haynes? He took a shot at it.
Yeah, bizarre. I wonder if he actually encountered a problem of some kind. Shuffling up front here, Jared Collins is looking for the lead of the race, but he won't quite get there. He'll move up into second if Michael Chase can't fend him off, and that looks like it's done. So Jared Collins making a few moves here. Lincoln Fox has led multiple laps of this race now.
David Martin peeks out. He's going to take the apex early and try and take a spot here from Michael Chase, but with the right-hander into the left-hander, it's really hard to make it stick unless you get a real good dive into the first turn of the complex. This track featured a lot in the time I was coming through rookies on iRacing. Did lots and lots of races around here. And I learned that over-under lesson the hard way.
Funnily enough, it was one of my worst tracks. There were a bunch of leagues I did where I'd be top 5 and would come here, and suddenly I'd be 15th and then would go somewhere else. I'd be top 5 again. Something about the long corners didn't work for me. So it presents a unique challenge as far as I'm concerned, in that it very, very much challenged me. Lincoln Fox leading, I think, being pushed by Jared Collins. So Collins has come up to second there. We saw David Martin trying to make a couple of moves happen. And this is where the slipstream really closes them up at the end of the front straight.
And still a pretty mostly intact top 10. I mean, 10 guys, all within about a half second of each other. Andy Cossack's dropped a little bit off the back. He got a little bit wrong going into 2. You'll see him even further off the back, just in the background there. Kind of got it wide on the entry. But yeah, really clean stuff from all these guys, even though they've been close together all the way through. Yeah, I know I've been kind of raving about the track, but just a really good club track. The way it's designed, you want to open up the entries to get the maximum lap time, but if you do that, you leave enough room that someone can dive it up the inside of you. Just one of those old school, really good designs.
was originally meant to be raced in the opposite direction, but at some point in the design they flipped it around this way. So think about that one if you will. Tim Wyer has a little mistake. Ryan Puchtel gets inside of him, and the freight train continues because then Kyle Robertson gets a go.
Carwell had a smidge of momentum, looked like he might be looking, but once Wyer was able to get it back in line, he found some momentum of his own and was able to hold him off. It's got to feel just wicked to throw the thing in at high speed like this and just pray for it to stick. So I know the supercars come out here. You see some motorbikes out here too. What else they got racing out here, Haynes?
Well, it had MotoGP and World Superbikes and Australian Superbikes. MotoGP is going to South Australia and leaving this place. GT World Challenge Australia, of course, Victorian, the local region Formula V's and stuff race here, which is great.
I'm really just waiting for you to talk about the Excels.
I'm not as jazzed by them as I used to be. They've gotten way too expensive as an Australian category, and they were never cool. They were always funny, and when they were cheap and funny, they were good. Now they're expensive and a bit odd. Takes the luster off it.
Watching here a little battle over looks to be 14th place, and then 12th and 13th. Couple little squabbles going on. It's Matt McGee taking a spot, holding a spot from Logan Sennhauser. Matt's our leading Canadian of the day. Now, where's our leading Australian of the day, David Haynes?
I think he led them to the green flag, the flag man himself.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe
Back
it was an
front.
Australian in the pace car.
Must have been. Maybe it was a penguin. Either way, we got Lincoln Fox taking the lead, holding the lead. It's Fox, Collins, Chase, Martin, and Puchtel rounding out the top five. Fox and Collins both leading in the points, but Puchtel's still in the ballpark. I think Michael Chase is actually fourth after a few rounds, or after a couple of rounds. So a lot of guys with a lot of vested interests in finishing on the top step of that podium. Of course, the reason we're here, the ChampCar iRacing Series, we got a big old prize provided for by the sponsor, ChampCar, putting themselves on the iRacing platform, giving folks the chance to win an entry into a real-world ChampCar race. If you're the full season-long championship winner, you can win 2,000 Champ Bucks. That's credit towards racing in the ChampCar Racing Series. And all these guys, just for showing up to the first 4 rounds consecutively, they can earn themselves a shot at a $250 Champ Buck draw. So you don't got to be fast, you just got to be consistent. That's what they say in endurance racing, right, Haynes?
That's indeed the name of the game.
These guys getting a little spicy up at the front here, though. David Martin was all the way left, all the way right, trying to keep Puchtel from making a move on him.
Now, Alex Harrison has come back into the race, but is 3 laps down, so I don't know exactly what's going on there. It looked like he was making for an early exit, but he's back. see what comes of that in the remainder of the race. Our leading group is a top 10. Dennis Daniel and Aaron Brown trade places for 12th and 13th. As they're at the head of the next group of cars.
Yeah, I think the most exciting fighting I'm seeing is back in 14th place. Matt McGee just leaving a cloud of dust on the exit of the hairpin there as he runs wide. He was trying to put some pressure on Logan Sennhauser, and the white car has now made his way behind, but they're running too wide. That's Brian Tidd in the yellow and purple car there, briefly trying to make a move, and now Logan's trying his hand at Aaron Brown up ahead in the M&M's car. So lots of squabbling going on back here in the mid pack, and there's even a little battle going on between the Canadians. That's at the back of that little group there, because Matt McGee and Tidd are the two leading Canadians. Up at the front, it looks like they're getting spicy going into two again, though.
Yeah, a change as Michael Chase takes the lead of the race away from Lincoln Fox going into turn one.
Yeah, it seemed like he got a really big draft off the two of them, who were kind of locked together, but maybe not pushing. We are coming up on 23-minute mark. Guy could start to think about the pit window. You can see just so tempting to get back on the throttle early and drop two tires. And it doesn't feel like it. They're too wide. That's Ryan Puchtel up the inside, coming up the hill. Oh, and then we're back here now with our battle pack. This is Aaron Brown in the M&M car, holding on to the inside line, taking a push from Matt McGee. And the two of them are trying to find their way around the outside of Logan Sennhauser. Oh! And Matt, not afraid to find the grass. Oh, and a little bit of contact up ahead. That's three guys sliding. That's Dennis Daniel leading this pack, trying to hold on, going defensive. There you go. Locks it down, but he's going to have to take the dirty side of the track. And Logan Sennhauser's up the inside and pushing with Aaron Brown. And Dennis Daniel decides to take the pits, and we're back at the front. So we saw our first scheduled stop there, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so. Maybe thought he was losing time battling and was going to try to do something else. But sometimes you feel like you're losing a little bit of time battling, but you're still going quicker than if you were all on your lonesome. Bit of movement up front here. Has Kyle Robertson alongside Ryan Puchtel for a bit there. Puchtel holds on.
Yeah. So I do think, though, it will be an interesting question. If you get a group of three guys that go into the pits, I don't know if it'll be an undercut today or an overcut. And I think it might come down to how organized you get everyone you're driving with. So Dennis, no, that's another DTM car. Who do we got there? That's Dennis Daniels. He's come out of the pit lane. And so he's given us a bit of a delta. Looks like around 53 seconds on the lane is pretty reasonable. We got Lincoln Fox taking a pit stop from the lead of the race, or second place, along with Michael Chase. So maybe the two of them are making their move.
So now, the drivers who've stayed out have had what was first and second pit, and they need to make sure that on track they keep their pace up lest they be undercut by these drivers, both going for new right-hand side tyres. Fox and Chase. Aaron Brown is also going to join them on the pit lane. So it was quiet for 20 minutes down there, but suddenly it gets busy.
looks to me like, is that Fox? Fox took 4, I think. Or at least 1 on each side.
No, I think it's possible at a 28-second stop.
Yeah, it'll be a critical outlap here. We'll have to see. And critical reaction time from the leaders. So they're coming up now to the top of the hill over by Lukey Heights, is it? And we'll see if any of them decide to dive in this time. Not sure if that was a fuel limited stop or if that was a strategy stop. 1 goes, 2 go, 3 go, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 1 all alone. Who stayed out? Ooh, got a little spicy on the pit lane entry there too. I think, was it Puckdell tried to make a move on Martin, or was it the other way around? Yeah, Puckdell tried to do an overtake on the entry to pit lane.
Well, he's been unspeeding, on so this is absolutely catastrophic for David Martin.
Shucks. Oh, that's tough.
So what service is everyone getting done? Certainly some right side tyres happening. Didn't actually see Tim Wire go up there. David Martin's got 4 tyres, both sides going on, but he's going to have a long hold before he can leave pit lane. So first to get going in this group, Jared Collins, followed by Ryan Puckdell. David Martin still being held, but Collins is out of here.
And they're rejoining the track with Michael Chase and Lincoln Fox coming full speed past him. And Fox is going to get pinched on the entry, but on the exit, he'll take the spot. So I don't know. What do you call that? Overcut, undercut? Neutral cut, I think. Oh, who's going wide in the background? That's Carwile in the Aggies car. Saw him skidding through the background. Got a little wide on the entry to 1. Oh, not an Aggie. It's a Virginia Tech.
Is that as serious an error you've made as I believe it might be?
No one knows my address, right? I think we're okay.
Okay. Carl Robertson comes in. There's only a couple of drivers that haven't pitted now. I suspect we'll see a couple more. It's the last driver left from the leading pack yet to stop, so he'll be hoping that he blends out with the rest of them, perhaps in another little pinch at turn 1. Andy Kosick comes in. Logan Sennhauser and Cameron Sennhauser, forming their famous sandwich, are both going to come into the lane. Will Warren in between.
Got Nickelford and Kevin Glass coming in. 2 Canadians in the back with Stephen Hermetz. Make it 3 Canadians. Drive onto a pit lane. It's a bit like the start of an old joke. And Lincoln Fox comes down the front straight with Michael Chase right behind, and the 2 of them are actually going to have a pretty good gap here onto the likes of Kyle Robertson, who's going to join, but join slow. And on iRacing, you use that early exit out of the pit lane. I think in a lot of faster series, modern series, they use the longer pit road, so you don't get quite the kerfuffle.
I think it's a cars, motorbikes type of a distinction. Yeah.
So do the cars usually use this one?
I think cars usually use the short one, motorbikes usually do the long one.
Spicy. Well, that pit cycle has done a lot to break up our field at the front. What was a 10-car pack looks to be maybe a 4, maybe a 5-car pack. If Kyle Robertson really gets on it here.
Race leader runs wide out of Siberia, kicks up some gravel, now alongside with Lincoln Fox as part of this breakaway.
And some interesting fuel calculations going on. Well, I think how much you were able to save in that first stint is going to matter a lot, potentially, for some of these guys.
So this is the leading group into the final corner. Very close, and you can see just that little bit of damage on the front for Michael Chase, where he's put that front bumper to the rear bumper of Lincoln Fox and tried to move them along. Ryan Puchtel from fourth has a monumental slipstream, and he is looking to take this 3 wide for the race lead going into turn 1 on the extreme inside. He comes from fourth to first, and that's how this racing often goes here at Phillip Island.
Yeah, that big slingshot is only going to get used more and more often as we get deeper into this race. But even just that little disturbance, I think, might have given Kyle Robertson a few tenths. And you can see him just lurking around the back there. If they stay too wide, he'll have a chance to get back in it.
So the other group that's formed is Ian Giebler, Byron Hayes, Tim Wyer not quite able to stick with them. I have a sense, though, that Byron Hayes might be slightly short fueled here. So that could be a concern for him. The penalty for David Martin has been very costly for him. He's back in 21st place. With Will Warren, who also had a slightly long stop.
Really tough for Martin. I think he's. I think this might be 2 races now that he's had a pit lane penalty that's affected his otherwise pretty strong driving performance. See if he gets that sorted out. There are 3 drop weeks on the 12-week-long season, so if this is your first time hearing about the series, it's not too late to join and be a competitor. Of course, free to enter. And our top 4 are organizing themselves, but not quite organized enough. That Drivetrainer Motorsports car in the back is getting closer and closer.
Yeah, make or break for Kyle Robertson, you'd say.
Yeah, just barely 2 seconds off the lead, but critically that's about 1.5 seconds off the guy ahead, which is just starting to sniff the draft. He uses every bit of the road and every bit of the AstroTurf on the exit there.
Yeah, sure does. It's pretty critical for Kyle Robertson to try to stick with this top 4. And he is just on the edge of that, but got plenty of gap to the next car behind in 6th place. So he's closer to catching this group than he is to falling back and battling with anyone else. On board with Michael Chase in 2nd place, behind Ryan Puchtel leading the way.
Yeah. So top 4, we've got 3rd place in the points, 4th place in the points, 1st place in the points, and 2nd place in the points after 2 rounds. So we're starting to see the usual suspects separate themselves.
Jared Collins moving up 1 spot there and into 3rd ahead of Lincoln Fox. Our top 4 roll through turn 1, and Kyle Robertson is just a little bit closer than he had been before. Looks like Giebler and Hayes side by side down the front straight, and Giebler wins that battle. Tim Wyer 8th, Ryan Carwell 9th, and Andy Kosick completing the top 10 runners with everyone having made a stop. Still very much worried about Byron Hayes' pit stop length. Yeah, it's an outlier for sure.
Yeah, He's dropped behind Giebler, I think, for good reason. So we'll see how light he can be on that throttle pedal. Watching now, we got Tid. This is 14th place. Tid's leading a group that includes Kevin Glass and Cameron Sennhauser. And both of them dive to the inside, take a little bit of a defensive line, trying to keep Sennhauser out of position. Maybe trying to make a little move on each other. And Kevin Glass peeks up the inside.
The next group back now being led by David Martin, who's the fastest car on track of anyone, faster than the race leaders last lap. So he might be bringing a few of these guys along and up towards that group that Brian Tidd is leading. So he's determined to make the most of this race after losing what would have been just over 30 seconds to speeding on pit lane.
Back at the front here, we've got a 5-car battle. That's because Kyle Robertson has found his way back onto this pack, and actually has a little bit of a moment on the exit of 2 there, but manages to keep it going. Credit to him. He's really figured something out in that final sector. He seems to take 4/10 out of the guys ahead by the time they get down to turn 1 every time. Last time by, it was more like 8/10, but I think the draft helped a little bit out with that. And could be some fuel save from our leaders too, because the guys behind took a little bit more comfortable amount of fuel. Only time will tell if it was enough. These guys were all pretty aggressive though. Though Hayes is still the shortest stop.
Who's the guy that owns the Boston Red Sox? John Henry? Yes, it's his yacht that's out in the bay with Steve Myers and Dale Earnhardt on it in this iRacing scan of Phillip Island. We're going to go side by side for the race lead, and Michael Chase looks one way, looks the other, and he's decided he's going to bump Ryan Puchtel, but I think Jared Collins has still just got this covered. That's our top 5, with a late move from Kyle Robertson to dive down the inside there as well. So Jared Collins holds the lead. Kyle Robertson goes to 4th. Lincoln Fox back in 5th for the moment, but quite a lot of laps still to go. There's some drama further back. Brian Tidd facing backwards, and with that second group of racers that have come together and coagulated, that means he's actually lost quite a lot of spots in a rush there. David Martin pushing forward, Cameron Sennhauser also in and amongst that group, and Brian Tidd now to the rear of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, tricky one. We'll see if we got a replay on that, but has a significant effect on the second battle there. Tidd is on the outside and just kind of closes the door on Sennhauser. Maybe gets a bad clear call. Either way, turns himself across the nose, and away she goes.
So Kyle Robertson will be very grateful that he's been able to join this top 5 group now. So it's working out relatively well for him. The top 5 were pulling away from everyone else, but Tim Wyers pulled a good lap out of the bag. Surprised, because it looked like he was one of the drivers that didn't take tyres, but he's got together with his mate Ian Giebler. But he'll move up into 2nd. If there was a bit of damage on Ryan Puchtel's car, the dazzle camouflage makes it hard to spot.
Can't call you for a penalty if they can't prove you touched them, you know. Yeah, it's interesting to see this group of 5 running together, because Robertson was really able to take chunks of time out of these guys as he was catching up to them. And the first 2 laps he was with them, he really made kind of some big moves into turn 1. But now that he's here, it's almost like he's stalled out a little bit. He's just running the same laps as them, you know, kind of pacing himself. Doesn't seem to be eager to pull away in this moment. Wonder if he did a number on his fuel reserves there, catching up.
The big Mario Kart style rubber band of MX5 racing is bringing multiple of these groups together. So yeah, Hayeswire and Giebler getting closer. David Martin catching Kevin Glass now and bringing so many people along with him as he's punched a big hole, but also driven very, very quickly post his pit stop.
Yeah, and he's still got a few cars to chase down. Not just Kevin Glass, but Dennis Daniel and Alex Harrison are a little further up the road. And, you know, if he keeps this pace up, he might even have Matt McGee and Aaron Brown just outside the top 10 to contend with by the end of the race.
He's caught Kevin Glass very, very quickly, almost too quickly. You don't want to be right underneath their rear bumper coming out of the final corner here. You want to be maybe 2 car lengths back, get a run up at it like the high jump. There's that next group of drivers just up the road as well. So on board with Martin gets alongside Kevin Glass.
Replay from the front. And looks like Collins is going to make a bit of a move here. Just on the exit of 2. And Haynes was mentioning this earlier. If you run a little bit wide, you can be forced to lift there on the exit. So we've got now Collins leading, Puchtel second, Fox third. We're back with our battle pack though, Haynes.
Oh, and it's a squeeze, and that's John Nicholford backwards there.
Yeah. And I think a little bit of bad luck there for Nicholford. Things choked up in the braking zone and car ends up facing the wrong way. Back now with the leaders.
Seems like it will be 10 more laps of this race for our leaders. Jared Collins leads the way at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and these guys, we're not seeing the same level of contact. We're seeing a little deeper in the field, but they're getting very close to each other. Very confident. And just up the road, they are a few corners away from Thomas Love. Will be maybe a little monkey wrench in their plans.
Let's see, that would be catching about 2 seconds per lap. So not far away.
I was say, I'm not sure which generation Thomas is. I think that might be a 3rd generation Loves in the field here.
I'm not sure either, but Jared Collins will lead us out the final corner on another lap. couple car lengths ahead of Ryan Puxell, Lincoln Fox, Kyle Robertson and Michael Chase. And as Jared Collins goes from the right-hand side of the racetrack to the left, they're all obliged to follow him. So Kyle Robertson will then dive down the inside of one, pick up a couple of spots, move to second place. There was a moment he was perhaps out of touch with the leading group. That gap got closed down. Now he picks up a couple more positions in the pack. He's certainly believing in himself.
Yeah, it's, you know, showing some of that pace that we thought might be there is Robertson. He, you know, being a little forceful, being a little brave. But I'd certainly be battling for the win from second place on this track than from fifth. Just because it does seem like it's not that hard to get a little bit of overlap, but it's hard to make that pass stick around here, I think.
Curb cam, very nice. Easily flat out through that part, so the drivers are getting close to the curb just to take the shortest distance from one corner to the next.
I almost can't believe that you can get a Miata up to 145, but they're doing it out here.
With a long enough run up, anything is possible, and that's what this racetrack has got. Combination of everything. A very fast final corner takes you onto the front straight with speed, which is then slightly downhill. Long front straight here, and we are going to get 3 wide for sure. Puxell's boxed in behind Jared Collins. Lincoln Fox doesn't have that problem. And Lincoln Fox is looking for that race lead, almost clear before the track changes direction into the left at Southern Loop and takes that race lead.
Robertson's getting hung out to dry here on the outside. And go from second, shuffling back to fifth.
Well, there's as many snakes as there are ladders. You can drop a couple of positions in a lap, but a really good run on that front straight clearly can get you a couple of positions at once as well. So you'll never think you're out of it, so long as you're part of this leading group of 5 on the final lap.
Yeah. And I think all of them learning some lessons about, you know, where do they want to make their move? What moves do they need to defend at this point? Just over 10 minutes to go.
Kevin Glass, Cameron Sennhauser, David Martin. Actually a lot of pace in this battle for 14th, 15th and 16th. And that's Glass with a dive to take the position at turn 4.
Yeah, nicely done. David Martin going to make move around the outside, but hard to make it work there. Better run's going to go to Sennhauser. And Martin might pay for that move a little bit.
It's great for Kevin Glass whenever they're battling side by side through the corners behind you. David Martin's looking for another spot, but it won't come easily. Cameron Sennhauser's got him covered right there.
And they get spooled up again.
Yeah, running down the front straight. Cameron Sennhauser moves to the right side versus Kevin Glass. Still seems to mostly have them covered.
And that shot really gives you a sense of how much you're cresting a hill and just trying to make the thing stick on the way down. Too wide, too deep. Who's going to come out ahead? David Martin's trying to make that outside line work. He crosses it over. That was really tight on Nick Love behind. And then Kevin Glass was ahead. And this time Martin dives to the inside and a little bit of contact. That's going to put Kevin Glass the wrong way around. And that's tough. Guy's loaded up in the middle of the corner. Going to send Jeffrey Rockwell off the track as well. Rejoining the leaders. They're busy.
You were talking about that, a lot of corners where you want to start around the outside and come back to a later apex, and I think that's what the leading car was going for and what the battling car didn't quite respect. But we're side by side for the race lead here. Inside of 10 minutes to go, it's Lincoln Fox. It's going to be the outside of turn 4 versus Jared Collins. Ryan Puxel and Michael Chase and Carl Robertson just watching behind, and all the dirt and everything building up around the outside doesn't quite seem to be a problem in turn 4 as Lincoln Fox stays to the inside for the switch of directions the other side.
Yeah, Robertson got disconnected for about half a lap there as they made their way past that lap traffic last time by. But he's right back on the tail end of the lead pack here. And now Jared Collins taking the inside line as they come over the hill. But in Phillip Island fashion, Lincoln Fox going to have the preferred line at the next corner. Just a good job clearing Jared Collins on the exit.
So all very similar pit stop times amongst this leading group. Some other drivers in the field with longer stops. Byron Hayes with a shorter one. David Martin with a penalty. And we have a top 5 within 5/10 of a second. And almost looking 3 wide. Gonna get 3 wide down towards turn 1? Not quite.
If we're this close together, we might get...
Puxel ends up with the lead of the race. Lincoln Fox around the outside. Whole bunch of gravels ended up pooling there as the race has gone on. Ryan Puchtel's going to cover off the inside for Miller Corner, but Lincoln Fox has been pretty successful around the outside of Miller to the inside of Siberia on previous laps, looking for a repeat of that versus Ryan Puxtel, who gets a little slidey coming out of the tight hairpin.
A little bit less of a run this time, but it looks like Fox is going to get a push.
Carl Robertson drives into the grass a little bit back there as well, as he was trying to keep an eye on what's going on up front here into MG corner, and then leaping out of the bowl with speed and picking it up the whole way in this fast sector of the racetrack. Just over 5 minutes on that clock. Now Lincoln Fox to the lead of the race, pushed by Michael Chase. Ryan Puchtel will either sit in third or Jared Collins might get his nose in there. I think Puchtel's just safe for the moment. Super long turn 2, often a double apex, one on the way in, then over the crest of the hill and coming to a late apex. That's the line that they're taking here. Group number 2 forming. Wire, Hayes, Giebler and Ryan Carwile, the fastest car on track last lap as well. So battles to be found everywhere, as is typical of this track and of this car.
Yeah, Byron Hayes very dedicated to staying behind. Oh, Tim Wire. Oh, no. And a little bit of contact in the braking zone. And I think Byron's doing the honorable thing and pulling aside to let Wire catch up. And you can see just misjudged the braking a little bit. But quickly gets on the grass and lets Wire have the position back. But that might be the end of our second group there, Haynes.
Yeah, Byron Hayes falls on his sword in the end as well. Giebler had a car while then in 6th and 7th. And Lincoln Fox is going to lead the pack out the final corner now. Beginning to count on your fingers and toes and count backwards, because this 60-minute race has just 4 minutes to run. And that means it's still got 3 more laps. Touch and go on that one.
Yeah, it's going to really come down to what iRacing timing does for us. No rest up here, though.
You know, or it could be very well be a white flag at the end of this lap as well. But relatively close as far as that's concerned. Lincoln Fox still holding that lead. Gets a couple more car lengths as Ryan Puchtel and Michael Chase go side by side. Puchtel gets that spot.
You don't want to let Fox get away, guys.
There's that yacht. At one point I did have the serial number for that yacht because it sold and John Henry got himself a bigger one. So you could have bought the famous iRacing Phillip Island yacht if you were in the market with enough millions back in the day. No, 2 more, I reckon. Still more than 2 minutes on the timer. Shouldn't be the white flag this time. Nope. He's still just watching. Twice more around, fellas.
Well, let's see. Is anyone going to get caught out by this?
Yeah, so lap times a minute 46, a minute 47. That's where we've got left now. So they would have needed to have been about 10 seconds slower.
Byron Hayes comes in. Hits the lane.
2 laps short on fuel. Is there anyone going to be 1 lap short on fuel, though? Tim Wyatt goes up into 8th because of Byron Hayes' pit stop. Andy Kosick also picks up a spot, and Matt McGee and Aaron Brown might get to fight for the final spot in the top 10. Fighting for the win and the podium is this group of 5 drivers. 1.5 laps of Phillip Island to sort it out. Lincoln Fox, championship leader already with a win to his name in 2026, is almost a second clear.
Yeah, Michael Chase had a real moment there coming out of the first chicane and got the thing sliding and wasn't able to get the power down the same way as Fox was. It's a big gap for Fox there, guys. They're going to be able to run him down. I don't know.
It's 1 pause and then 2, 3, 4, 5 as the group are going to come around to begin the final lap. Less than 30 seconds on the clock, but means they get sent for 1 more racing lap. He's got it in his hand and now he's giving it a good thrashing. 1 more lap. Lincoln Fox, 0.7 of a second lead, but that is an usurpable margin at a track like this.
I know he might need some collaboration from the guys behind, and I'm not sure they're in the mood for it on the final lap.
I think this all rests on Michael Chase's disposition on the final lap. with Ryan Pucktel right behind him, Jared Collins right behind that, Kyle Robertson, who fought to catch the top 5, now sitting in that 5th position. Michael Chase takes a defensive car placement going towards turn 4. Kyle Robertson doesn't. He bombs around the outside of Jared Collins as they continue to battle. Chase a little wide out into some marbles, and the race leading gap remains 0.8 of a second. Dennis Daniel's going to take a second pit stop, another driver to run short of fuel, and as he does so, he gets a speeding on pit lane penalty. It's unraveling right at the end for the 16th. Side by side for Collins and Robertson over Lukey Heights. Collins needs every championship point he can get at this stage because his main rival is leading the way right now. Lincoln Fox, 0.6 of a second out of MG, and into the final sequence of corners. That white flag will change to a checkered flag for 34 laps of racing at Phillip Island. Lincoln Fox just needs there to be enough fuel left in the tank to make it to a race win. And he's second in 3 races to kick off the season. Lincoln Fox wins at Phillip Island from Michael Chase and Ryan Pucktel. Jared Collins keeps that 4th from Kyle Robertson. Ian Giebler and Ryan Carwile will be mighty close for 6th and 7th.
Little side draft going here. Little door bang, but it's going to be Giebler at the line.
And just next, McGee and Wire. Oh, I think McGee's dropping. Andy Cossack, I think, has come to the line ahead of him. This is David Martin and Nick Love. Cameron Sennhauser just behind them. Logan Sennhauser gets turned at MG corner. Cindy Pickett also runs out of fuel. All dramas right at the end here.
Oh.
And get the camera. David Martin might just pick Nick Love, I think, there.
Yeah, close stuff. But yeah, David Martin's going to take Nick Love, Cameron Sennhauser, Matt McGee. Low on fuel on that final lap. Will Warren, Jeffrey Rockwell, Stephen Ermetz, Kevin Glass, Brian Tidd, Logan Sennhauser, and then Byron Hayes with that extra fuel stop crosses the line. That delivered. At the end there, Haynes.
So recapping after what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 battle packs all contend for their spots at the final lap. But Lincoln Fox gets the race win, 2 from 3, extends the championship lead. Michael Chase in second there from Pucktel in third, completing the podium. Jared Collins, Kyle Robertson, Ian Giebler, Ryan Carwile, Tim Wire, Andy Cossack and Aaron Brown is our top 10. And David Martin, the pole sitter, getting a penalty in the pit lane, dropping to 20-something. I forget exactly what it was. He might have been down in 23rd or so. Fought his way back to 11th versus Nick Love, Cameron Sennhauser, Will Warren, Jeffrey Rockwell and Steve Hermitz. Kevin Glass and Brian Tidd in 17th and 18th. Yeah, Logan Sennhauser 19th and Byron Hayes 20th. Sennhauser losing time being spun. Byron Hayes losing time being short on fuel. Matt McGee finished in 21st. And then Thomas Love in 22nd. I think Cindy Pickett ran out of fuel, pitted coming to the white flag, but then went a lap down while in pit lane and wasn't able to exit the pit lane and ends up 1 lap down, finishing the race in the pit lane in 23rd. Just like Dennis Daniel, who got trapped in pit lane after speeding on the entry. Alex Harrison, a weird issue early in the race, got back out there, ends up 2 laps down John Nicholford ends up 5 laps down, and Nick Love 4. Only 14 laps completed in this race.
Well, your home track there kind of put on a bit of a show. I guess this isn't your home track, but closer to home than usual. Put on a bit of show for us there, Haynes.
Yeah, you're making me think about it. I reckon Bathurst is probably actually the closest track to me on iRacing. But I take that, and Ryan Puchtel will join us third in the race, Ryan, and it played out about how we would have expected, right? MX-5s at a high-speed track.
Yeah, it's a classic one, ain't it?
So no surprises for you then, but what did that mean about how you had to approach the race?
I just kind of took it lap by lap. I knew that it's going to be, you don't really know who's going to win. So just kind of tried my best to stay in a good position and just wait for the last couple of laps to make a move and trying to maximize the result.
And how would you assess your strategy and your pit stop?
Obviously, the first stint, your fuel saving. Didn't take any tires. But it seemed to work out. We were pretty close coming out of the pits.
Yeah, relatively cold day seems to have helped that. 20 miles an hour of wind coming off of Antarctica to keep the track cold.
Yeah, I was debating whether or not to actually take a tire based on practice, but this track was a lot cooler, so didn't need to.
And 3 cars in play this season. This Mazda MX-5, the TCR cars, and the Toyota GR86 to come up. Which one do you think will most suit you? What are you most looking forward to? One of those other cars, or to get back in the MX-5 again later in the season?
Oh, well, I don't really drive these cars much in general. I've been kind of getting into the TCR car, so I do like that. I don't really have a preference out of the 3. They all seem to be fun cars to drive in this series.
Well, you won't have to wait too long for more ChampCar practice next week and Watkins Glen the week after. What do you think of that?
Definitely be interesting. I don't really drive Watkins Glen all that much, so going to take a lot of practice.
Well, there's plenty of practice on offer. We'll catch you around, Ryan. Well done, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Good night.
Now, our race leader, Lincoln Fox, rarely, if ever, speaks to us, but our second place, Michael Chase, just might Devon.
Yeah, we've found Michael Chase. He's found his way to the booth, and Michael, maybe a bit of a peak in your season so far. You've been just outside the top 3, and now you find yourself on second place.
Feels good to be able to park on the podium, that's for sure. Usually just outside of it, so looking in, so it feels good.
And it was a quality little pack you had there with the 5 of you.
Yep.
I think, was it you and Michael, or no, it was you and I'm trying to remember, was it Collins that pitted early?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh. And it, I don't know, it seemed like it all came together in the end for the 5 of you anyway, out of the front.
Yeah, I actually took some extra fuel because I thought I wasn't sure if we were going to make 33 or 34 laps. But anyway, had to save a little bit in the second stint. But I don't know. I thought I would have an advantage, but seems like everybody else had the same exact strategy. So we all came together. I think you'd have to really have a fast stop to get that gap off of the draft on this track. And there's just not enough gas in the car to do that.
Well, and in that last little battle there, it seemed like you had a bit of a choice to make in the final laps if you were going to, really try and push, or if you were going to try and chase after Lincoln Fox, because he managed to get a few lengths right at the end.
Yeah, I sort of messed up, almost lost the car there in that turn 4 or 5, whatever it is, hairpin, and sort of almost took my opportunities away. But I probably should have taken all 4 tires. I took just right sides, and I could sort of feel it towards the end that an hour on those left side tires was tough to make moves at the end. But survived.
Yeah, survive it was. So you done a lot of laps around Phillip Island before today?
Yeah, actually quite a few. I was looking at it at hundreds of laps, so I was surprised myself when I looked at it. But we've had a few events here with Spec 5, and I think it was officials were here a few seasons ago. So, and then this event and the practice last week. So I like it. Good thing there's great scenery because you just kind of drive around in a pack and chill for so long. But I don't know. I suppose you guys had even better scenery being out there in the yacht in the bay.
Well, you guys were putting on enough of a show that we could see it from all the way out in the bay.
That's good.
Yeah, no. Well, hey, and I'll have to do some, fingers and toes math to figure it out. But I think a second place finish might get you into contention for third place in the championship. Good start to your season.
I like it. Let's keep it up.
Cheers. We'll see you at the next one.
All right. Good night.
Well, we've spoken about it. We are looking forward to it. Round 4 of the ChampCar iRacing series just around the corner, and we'll also have our live prize draw. So that's a broadcast to check for sure. Every driver who completed the first 4 races goes into the hat or onto the wheel, as it may be. Few of our drivers that you see in the top 10 have been consistent racers and finishers so far this season, and it could be one of them as well. Lincoln Fox, with 2 wins, leads the championship as we leave Phillip Island. Thank you so much for joining us. HJBC coverage on ChampCar Live of the ChampCar iRacing Series 2026. David Haynes with Devin Peters and Michael Derby. It's been our pleasure. What a great pack race it was, and Lincoln Fox played it best. We'll see you next time out at Watkins Glen.